Welcome back to In Focus, a coronavirus town hall. We're broadcasting live tonight in 71 Indiana counties, bringing your questions directly to your representatives in Washington, D.C. And joining the conversation right now are Congressman Larry Bucshon, Trey Hollingsworth, and Greg Pence, who mainly represent different parts of southern Indiana and some parts of western and eastern Indiana as well. And let's get started with this question from Harry in Muncie, which is part of Representative Pence's district. He asks, being in a pandemic for about 6 weeks now, when is Congress going to give another stimulus check to help everyone? Because the first one, while nice, just, quote, put a Band-Aid on things, in Harry's words. Congressman Pence, can Hoosiers count on a second stimulus check in the future?
Well, thanks, Harry. Thanks, Dan, for having me here. You know, I would tell Harry one of the things he can do is get on my website, pence.house.gov, and kind of keep up with where the bills are, where the CARES Act, where the PPP, the PPE, what's going on out there. I had hoped that we would go back to Washington, D.C. and have a debate and discuss this very topic. But for some reason, the Democrats don't want us to go back. Now, we've got doctors, we have nurses, we have grocery store, C-store workers. Everyone's out there working, but I guess the House of Representatives doesn't have to go back and work and figure these things out.
The House physician this week citing some health concerns on that question. Jeffrey in Evansville has a question as well. He believes essential workers should get hazard pay, saying, quote, "We are daily putting our lives at risk with no protections." Congressman Bucshon, how do you respond to his concerns, and do you support hazard pay for all essential workers?
Well, first of all, I think many of your viewers know I was a healthcare provider before I was a physician and surgeon, and I'd like to thank all the healthcare providers out there who are doing what you said, risking their lives every day to take care of our fellow citizens. They should be applauded. I do think that we should have that debate. I think that citizens that are in the healthcare field, that are working every day, taking care of people, putting themselves at risk. I know one person in my district who has rented an apartment and doesn't go home because he's an ER physician and is afraid to spread coronavirus to his children and his family. So, yeah, I think this should be a consideration, and I think we need to get back to Washington, D.C. and have that debate on behalf of the people that we represent.
A debate you're willing to have, you say. Okay, Congressman Hollingsworth, this question is from one of your constituents who also happens to share your first name. Trey from Whiteland says the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program has been, in his words, a catastrophic failure. He says there's no one available to talk and the website continues to crash. Do you agree with his assessment, and how are you helping those who are in desperate need of this kind of assistance?
I'm so glad Trey asked, because I do agree with his assessment. This is what I hear from Hoosiers all the way across the district that continue to talk about websites crashing, the unavailability of Hoosiers to be able to get somebody on the phone, and the challenges in getting the payments and funds that the federal government has already put in place. There needs to be accountability here, because Hoosiers are counting on those funds to make ends meet week to week, not in weeks, not in months, but every single week. And we have got to do a better job here in the state of getting those funds out to those individuals who have lost their job.
Congressman Pence, this question comes from a viewer in Shelbyville named Mike, who says he called your congressional office about food shortages. He says farmers can't sell their produce and livestock and are in some cases destroying it to cut their losses. What's your strategy to deal with this possible food production and distribution crisis?
Yeah, Mike, thanks for the question. Thanks, Dan. I actually sent a letter to Sunny Purdue today asking them to get on top of this, not just for livestock, but for tomatoes, other crops, fruit and vegetable crops. This is a big deal. As the economy has contracted, as people have stayed home, as the supply chain has been disrupted, going from people eating out to different portions back to the grocery store, the system doesn't have the capacity to make this conversion as quickly as it needs to. We're working, we're bringing all the information from farmers in our district, and we're sharing that with the administration.
Another question from our viewer here who works at Tropicana Casino in Evansville and is wondering what the timeline might be to reopen casinos and what precautions would be recommended when the time comes. I know a lot of you have casinos in your district. Congressman Bucshon, how concerned are you about the impact this will have on our state's casino industry?
Well, it's going to have a dramatic impact, as it already has, based on what we've seen with the needs for social distancing and to protect our fellow citizens. The administration in D.C. released a 3-step guidelines to get people back to work and get people back in their jobs, and that would include at casinos. I also think that Governor Holcomb and his administration has done a good job at the state level, and I'm going to rely on the medical data on whether it's safe or not to reopen these type of facilities, and that has to come from Dr. Box at the state level, Dr. Fauci and Birx at the national level, and then with the guidelines put in place at the national level through the governor's office. So there's no good answer to the question. It's a very difficult problem to solve, but I'm hopeful that we can soon get these type of places open back up. But the medical reality is right now, I don't think we're quite there.
On this broader topic of reopening, Congressman Hollingsworth, you faced some controversy recently over your remarks on the economic concerns versus the health concerns. We talked about that recently on In Focus, but we're also talking about these protests. There's another protest scheduled tomorrow at the State House with protesters who want the economy opened up, and a pretty intense protest today in Michigan as well. I want to ask you, do you agree with Governor Holcomb when he says these protests, because people are closely gathered and some not in masks, that these protests aren't helping the situation when it comes to social distancing and the guidelines that are in place?
I want every Hoosier to be safe. I want everybody that is out protesting to ensure that they are socially distant, to ensure that they're wearing masks. But ultimately, the reason they're protesting is because of the unprecedented restriction on their freedom, the unprecedented restriction on their ability to earn income for their families, the unprecedented restriction on their religious freedoms. And Hoosiers all the way across the district, all the way across the state are starting to say, I want to get back to work. I want to educate my kids. I want to go back to church. I can do those things safely. I will find a way to do those things safely, but they expect to get back to their way of life as quickly as possible, provided that we take all the safety precautions along the way. I think it is hugely important that we listen to Americans who are saying that they want to find a way forward, no matter how difficult the circumstances, no matter how many precautions we take, find a way forward to create their way of life again.
That reopening debate continues, especially in districts like yours that all share a border with a neighboring state. Governor Holcomb has entered into a regional grouping of Midwestern governors to better coordinate that response. How important is it specifically for these regions and counties along the border to have that kind of coordination with neighboring states? Congressman Pence, quickly, I'll leave this one to you.
Yeah, my district is adjacent to Cincinnati. You know, we don't want to have completely different plans rolling out where one group may go across the border and overwhelm the cities adjacent to it. And I think it's a good idea. And by the way, the governor's done a great job. I think talking to the other states, bringing everybody together to discuss the best way to approach this. I'm really proud of him, as I am very, very proud of my brother, the job he's done on the task force.
All right, Congressman Pence, Congressman Bucshon, Congressman Hollingsworth, thank you all for being here. Much more to come with you and our other representatives coming up. Guys.
And thank you so much. Our conversation with U.S. lawmakers continues right after this break.
Up next, we are putting our representatives in Congress through a lightning round to get their takes on protests, wearing masks in public, and reopening schools.